small group for Christmas. And I will say, I think we're live streaming now, but there was only 4 of us, kind of that Christmas to New Year's week and Christmas Day, and everyone was vaccinated and boosted, and we still had one person, my cousin, get sick. Fortunately, it wasn't bad or anything and all that, but it's just, even when you feel like you do the right thing, still challenging sometimes right now.
All right, looks like everything's working. Would you like me to resume the recording? Also, if I return hosting back to, would it be Tina?
It would be Kristen.
Kristen, okay. All right, hang tight.
Thanks, Kevin.
No problem.
And just to let everybody know, we are live streaming and recording, and we do have a couple of folks that have been able to join us.
That's good news. It's a mess, so I am gonna make some of that noise back there go away. It is a tight fight in here today.
I'll have a little dog at my feet playing with, he wants to be outside playing ball still, but had to come in and my fingers were about to freeze off.
All right, you guys are good to go.
Thanks, Kevin. All right, we will get started here in 3 minutes.
Emily, did you have a good Christmas and Happy New Year? And
I did. Like I said, it was a small group of us. Had brunch on Christmas morning, and then actually went down to Hilton Head the week in between Christmas and New Year's. Coincidentally, Brendan and I were eating lunch at the same restaurant one day down there. He pointed that out to me the other day. He's like, I thought it was you, but I couldn't tell. You had sunglasses on. So it was very nice weather down in Hilton Head. I think sunny and 78 just about every day. So it was very nice.
Well, that's good.
Went down to Savannah one day. Had not been there before. Just took a little day trip down there. So it was nice to be able to get away for a bit.
Great.
Well, you look good. Everybody looks good. I'm very happy that everybody appears to be healthy.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a good holiday, Pam? Yeah.
I had a different holiday, but it was a good holiday.
Okay.
All right. I think 1 minute, and we'll get started. And I think, Michael, you can kind of kick things off and then turn it over to Tammy and Pam, and they can introduce themselves.
Well, good evening, all that are in attendance. Tonight's event is the Virginia Board of Education public hearing on the data science standards of learning. We're welcoming you all to this event. And at this time, I'll introduce myself and then turn it over to Dr. Mann. My name is Michael Bowling. I am the Assistant Superintendent for Learning and Innovation at the Department of Education. And I'll be calling the names of speakers as they come in. And I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Mann, at this time for an introduction and for our opening statement.
Certainly. Good evening, and I am Tammy Mann, and I serve on the State Board of Education. And before I share the opening statement, I'm going to invite my colleague, Dr. Davis-Vaught, to also introduce herself.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Pamela Davis-Vaught, board member and principal from Bristol, Virginia. So welcome.
Thank you. So we do want to thank you all for joining us tonight. On behalf of the Virginia Board of Education, I'd like to welcome you to the Data Science Standards of Learning virtual public hearing this evening. The purpose of this hearing is to receive comments and suggestions from you the parents, teachers, administrators, board members, community members, and other members of the public regarding the proposed data science standards of learning. The board has taken deliberate steps to include educators of Virginia as well as the public in the process leading to its decision to approve these proposed standards of learning. At the direction of the board, the Virginia Department of Education has involved teachers, administrators, supervisors, representatives from higher education, and representatives of professional associations in developing the draft documents that are presented to you this evening. The virtual public hearing this evening is designed so that the board may receive broad comment. Your comments and suggestions will be extremely important and helpful as the board prepares for the standards of learning to be presented for final review at the March 2022 board meeting. We appreciate your willingness to speak with us and we value your comments. At this time, I would like to review the guidelines for speakers and members of the audience. Number one, speakers will be recognized in the order in which their email request was processed. Number two, speakers will limit their remarks to a maximum of 3 minutes each. Number three, a signal visual will be given when a speaker's time limit has expired. Additionally, staff will hold up a yellow card when you have 30 seconds remaining and a red card when you have 10 seconds remaining. When your time is up, please close your remarks promptly. You may email a copy of your remarks to Tina Saccone, BDOE Mathematics Coordinator, after you finish speaking. In the event that more persons sign up than the total time period allows, the Board of Education reserves the right to ask all speakers to limit their remarks to 2 minutes or less each. Please provide your name and affiliation at the beginning of your remarks. And finally, speakers may provide a written copy of their comments. So at this time, I'm going to turn it back over to Michael, who will take us through the process of hearing your remarks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mann. So for those in attendance, there were no public speakers that signed up to speak this evening. So at this time, we will turn it over to the attendee group and ask any of you, if you wish to speak, you may enter your name in the chat and let us know, indicate your interest in speaking, at which time we will promote you to a panelist, and then you'll be able to speak to the group. We will keep this public hearing open for up to 15 minutes this evening before we close it out to provide ample time for anyone who wishes to attend and wishes to speak to let us know. So if you are interested in speaking, please enter your name in the chat at this time. Okay, it looks like we do have a speaker that would like to make comment. Kristen, could you promote? Okay, and Mr. is it Caccone? Can you unmute yourself? And hopefully I didn't butcher your name. Richard?
Oops, am I muted? Are we
Oh,
good?
it looks like you're there now. Richard, I hope I did not destroy your name. I will at this time turn it over to you for you to make public comment.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Rick Saccone. I'm here in Suffolk, Virginia. I've been active in certainly observing school board events, participating, speaking at school board events, also active in textbook reviews. So I'm interested in what goes on, of course, with our school system locally here in Suffolk and statewide. So I was invited to this event via email, which I really appreciate the distribution and the opportunity to take a look at curriculum and framework and all of those things. So I probably don't need 3 minutes. I had an opportunity again to look through the original. If you pardon me, I'm scrolling here. The agenda items. I read the executive summary, went down through and into the framework, and then looking directly at the standards. So the things that I have some real concerns here about how we're capturing, and I sent comments in. Hopefully somebody got those. But the first two sections, data science, were data and society and data and ethics. And I'm concerned about just how these are framed. And it seems to me that it kind of, the way it says societal problems that can be effectively addressed, and also this in data DS3, where it says affect positive changes and mitigate negative consequences. So the concern to me is that's sort of subjective, and it will be different for everybody who looks at those. And so I'd like to see we're careful not to confuse ethics with values. So positive change and mitigating negative consequences can certainly, it just kind of tees it up. I would like to see where students pick whatever it is that trips their trigger. Maybe they're into sports, or maybe they're into music, or maybe they're into, I don't know, space exploration. But I don't think I'd like to see them preloaded with looking for, social issues, social problems that can be effectively addressed using data science. To be sure, some of them might have that interest and they might take that on, but I don't think it's appropriate to preload that. Is that clear? Am I making myself clear? This is kind of my first effort at this kind of a thing, so I'm not sure if I'm getting my point across.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate your comments. Just as a reminder, in public hearings, it's not a back and forth, and there's not really a discussion. We're receiving public comments. Okay. And so please do not take that as disrespect. That is just the process to make sure that we're providing an equitable amount of time for each speaker that wishes to speak. So thank you very much for your comments. I do believe that they were clear.
Okay, a couple more things, and I probably will have said my piece. As I scroll through the like DS4, students identifying biases in data collection, I think it leads me back when we talk about bias, statistical bias. It takes me back to things like DS3. I think there's an observer bias inherent in that kind of a statement. So. Again, I would ask the group to relook at how they phrase that. It can be a student recognizing the importance of data literacy and global citizenship. Again, affect positive changes and mitigate negative consequences. It's kind of in my mind that kind of front loads issues that may or may not be clear. So
thank you.
Let's see. Positive change. Again, positive change with a negative consequence is certainly my version of a negative consequence, and a positive change is going to be different than someone else's. So I just think you let the student pick the target, whatever that is, because in the main, everything I read through here makes a lot of sense.
Thank you very much for your public comment.
And I think that frees up my time, doesn't it?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Matt Dunleavy.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for the invitation. as well as staying after on a weekday. I think I'm familiar with most of you, and I wanted to start by thank you for the invitation, but also thank you for your service, both in terms of the Board of Education as well as the larger Virginia Department of Education. It is a testament to the outstanding work that you do that you're thinking ahead. You're looking at what our kids are going to need in terms of their skills to not only support the Commonwealth, but more importantly, support themselves and their families throughout the Commonwealth, including Southwestern Virginia. So as you read out, my name is Matt Dunleavy. I'm the Executive Director of the Vinod Chatra Impact Lab at Radford University. And we actually are working with the department in various projects to support workforce development. My interest in this is not only professional, but I also have a 14-year-old daughter who's a freshman in high school at Blacksburg High School. And so Montgomery County Public Schools is doing a fantastic job. And, her interests are really in some of these high-tech, high-skill, high-demand fields. And so I'm thrilled that the department is moving in this direction, specifically with data science. We had the privilege of working with the former Chief Data Officer, Carlos Rivera, as well as the interim CDO, Marcus Thornton, to actually develop an online data science professional development program really designed for the IT sector and working adults. I say all of that introductory material to get to my request, which is to make sure that we are doing two things as the department and the board move forward with this important initiative, and that is making sure that we're very closely tied in with industry. At the end of the day, as we graduate our students into the workforce, we want to make sure that they're job ready day one, and that is only going to be possible through direct collaboration with companies such as Amazon and other large employers throughout the Commonwealth. So I'm hopeful that will be an ongoing dialogue, perhaps with an industry advisory board, because I think that's going to be critical. The other piece that I think is going to be critical to the success of this for our students and our teachers is that teacher support. As everybody on this call well knows, we have teacher shortages in critical areas, and we also need to train our CTE teachers in some of these high demand, high skill sectors, including data science. And so my hope and my proposal is that we're going to have a robust support for teacher preparation, both for the schools of education throughout the Commonwealth, but also on site, especially in some of these rural environments where they don't have necessarily the means to train teachers. So those are my primary suggestions. Again, thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for your service to the Commonwealth. And I look forward to seeing how this evolves and potentially supporting your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dunleavy. And please, I would encourage you to submit written comments to the in the chat. You'll see the email address. It's vdoe.mathematics@doe.virginia.gov. And that is true for Mr. Saccone, I believe, as well. So thank you very much, both of you, for your comments. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Harry Holloway.
Hi, I'm a math teacher. I'm sorry, my screen's not working very well. I'm a math teacher in Clark County, Virginia. Well, I'm a math specialist right now, but the big question I have really has to do with the phrasing of the standards. When you're looking at data analysis, one of the most important skills we need to teach students in data analysis is the idea of critical thinking and understanding when data is bad or has to be questioned. So I was wondering if there's a way in the future for the standards to be written in that form, rather than saying a student will be able to effectively criticize and analyze data as opposed to execute some skill. Constantly phrasing them in terms of executing a skill, I think, really limits what we can focus on, because the focus really needs to be, I think, on when I'm looking at data, is this good data, bad data? If someone else is sharing data, is it good data or bad data? That's my primary ball I want to throw into the court here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Holloway. And please, as others, I would encourage you to submit written comments and to the email address in the chat that Ms. Williams-Faust posted. If there are other members of the audience that would like to speak, please indicate your wish to do so in the chat, at which time we will promote you to panelist, and then you'll be able to speak. We'll provide just a few moments more of wait time and allow folks to enter their comments. If they're interested in making comment, just enter your name in the chat. Let us know your intent to speak, and then we can promote you to panelist. Okay, it appears that we do not have any additional speakers. Any of the panelists, did you all happen to notice anyone that I missed? I want to make sure we hear everybody's comments. And Kristen, did I miss anybody on your end?
No, I think we got everybody.
Okay, great. Well, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Davis-Vaught for our wrapping up, a few statements to wrap up the public comment period.
Thank you, Mr. Bowling. I'd like to thank everyone for participating in tonight's public hearing. We appreciate your feedback and engagement with the Board of Education. VDOE staff will consider all comments made tonight for additional revisions to the proposed standards. We anticipate the proposed standards will come back to the board for final review at their March 17th, 2020 second meeting. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And for those who are listening by virtual gathering, you may send your comments to the vdoe.mathematics@doe.virginia.gov.
All right. Thanks, everybody.